I didn't get to be here last time, so it seems like forever since I've seen you. So it's really, really nice to be here today with you again. So has anyone ever heard of the Platinum Rule? Oh, well, I discovered it when I was reading Soul Matters, which Judy provides to me every month, this wonderful information from UUA. And it made so much sense to me. And especially today, because it just feels like we're just disconnected in many places in our world. And I think I need to move this a little higher. How's that? That's better. Good. Well, we all know the Golden Rule, or most of us do anyway. And it's the principle of treating others as you would like to be treated. And we're all familiar with this in some form in our life. And it dates back to Confucian time, BCE, a long time ago. And almost all of our religions has some kind of golden rule in their different words. For example, if you don't want to be hit, you don't hit anybody else. Pretty simple, huh? Yes. And then I began to think about it, because I don't think about this every day. I don't think about this on Sunday morning. But then I realized, the golden rule plays a big part in my life. And as a very small example, my late husband Jerry and I used to go to the movies every weekend almost. And I would pick a movie and I'd ask him, what sitting would he like to go to? And I did this one weekend. And he says, I don't want to go. And I said, oh, are you not feeling well? He says, no, I feel just fine. I don't want to go. And I was taken aback. What do you mean you don't want to go? I love going to the movies. I love the adventure, going to a different place, just taking me somewhere else. Well, he doesn't like going to the movies. And I said, well, why? Why don't you like going to the movies? And he said, I don't like sitting around all those people I don't know, and I don't like eating popcorn. Can you imagine not loving to eat popcorn? Yeah, he says, I go to the movies because I know you want to go. So again, I was so surprised, and I just didn't know what to do there for a while. So finally I decided, well, I'm going to go. So I did. I found a friend, and we went to the movies, and it was wonderful. But I started thinking about this. How many times do we make assumptions about what other people want? We do that, don't we? How many times do you buy a gift that you like for someone? I am really good at that. And how many times have you ever asked somebody what they want for their birthday or for Christmas? I always feel like if I do that, then I'm going to ruin the surprise, because they'll know what they're going to get. And one time I was really surprised because I got back a gift that I had given to that person who had forgotten that it came from me in the first place. So, anyway. Yeah. But I want you to think about the people in your life and really pay attention to how you relate to each one of them. Gifts are one thing. However, pay attention to how you speak around people. And I mean really, really pay attention. Because how most of us have structured our lives is so ingrained within us that we do not realize how we are affecting others and how we are making assumptions, in awareness or not, that they are there to live up to our expectations. Now that sounds a little harsh, but think about it. Think about it. Marshall Rosenberg, the founder of Nonviolent Communication, told the story of a woman who was attending one of his trainings, who realized in the training that she does not like to cook. And yet she cooked every day for her family because she felt like that was what she was supposed to do. So she made this decision to express her truth with her family and figure out other ways that they could have their meals every day. And when she told them that she didn't want to cook anymore, they were so happy because they did not like her cooking. So, that's what I'm talking about. We assume these things. So let's break down the concept of the golden rule a little. So if I'm treating another the way I want to be treated, then I am assuming, again, the other wants to be treated the same way that I want to be treated. If the other does not want to be treated the same, then only one person in the relationship is really getting what they want. And only one person is happy. So I assume Jerry loved going to the movies, just because that's what we did. But he did not, as I said. So this does not foster deeper relationships, and many times fosters resentment. And he was, we talked about it later, he was feeling resentful that he had to go to the movies so often. But one half of this relationship was being fostered, but at the detriment of the other. And that does not foster really deep relationships, as I said. In his book, The Art of People, author Dave Kirpin speaks at length about how the golden rule misses the mark. And yes, the intentions are good, they really are. But it's not enough. Kirpin explains, the golden rule is a splendid concept except for one thing. Everyone is different. And the truth is that in many cases, what you'd want done to you is different from what your partner, your employee, customer, investor, your wife, your child even, would want done to him or her. To make things pretty clear-cut, Kirpin provides this very, very simple story. Personally, I am very fond of strawberries and cream. But I have found, for some very strange reason, fish prefer worms. So when I went fishing, I didn't think about what I wanted. I thought about what they wanted. So I didn't bait the hook with strawberries and cream. Rather, I dangled a worm and grasshopper in front of the fish and said, "Wouldn't you like to have that?" So here's the challenging part of the golden rule. When you love a certain way of doing things, whether it's giving feedback, expressing thanks, or asking questions, everyone is not going to be like you. Basically, you can choose to accept that fish like worms better than strawberries, or you can go a step further to understand why fish likes worms rather than strawberries. So think about your relationships in your life right now, and just ask if you are treating those people in your life the way you want to be treated or the way they would like to be treated. Are you expecting them to think, act, and say the way that you would? Like the same things. And I think if you really, really pay attention to that, you're going to be surprised. Because I started thinking about that as I was preparing this, because I was just introduced to the Platinum Rule. And I thought, wow, how many times have I done that? And boy, a lot of them came up. A lot of them came up. Now, this is the same dynamic that we are embroiled in right now in our world because of the chaos that is shifting from our paradigms A to B. All of this stuff is coming up, and there is this huge division, it seems like, in the world, in our nation, in our societies, and even within our families. And most of this division is because we feel all others should think, act, and speak the way we do. Think about that. How many times do you ask someone to share what they really feel about things like politics or spirituality or local issues? Or do you shy away from those conversations just because you don't agree with them and you don't want to get into any conflict with them? But that's there, and the feeling is there, and that expectation is still there. Even many, many years ago, criticism of the Golden Rule was around. And I've never heard that. But there were philosophers such as Immanuel Kant and Friedrich Nietzsche. And they objected to the rule for various reasons, but most importantly, it was because one person with a specific background, upbringing, or standards sees things differently and wants to maybe be treated differently because it makes sense to them. And I started thinking about some of the Eastern nations and some of the things that go on there, and no, I don't agree with that. But who am I to say, those people are okay with that? Because I see it in a different perspective. So how does one know how others want to be treated? Well, the short answer is ask them, isn't it? But, we can just accept that they want whatever they want, but we can also even go deeper and find out what's behind that. So we really develop some kind of an understanding and just an acceptance that that's how they feel. Now, the Platinum Rule is a variation of the Golden Rule that calls for a more thoughtful approach when dealing with others. And it asks that you do unto others as they would want to be done to them. And so basically, in simple terms, following the Platinum Rule means making sure that you know how the people around you want to be treated. And what does that mean? We make a little bit of effort, don't we, to find that out. And it also implies, when we use it and we live by it, that we are accepting that others are different. And maybe we don't understand why, but just accepting is the first step to maybe leading to some understanding. So how do we use the Platinum Rule? Well, remember, we're in this humanity boat together. There's only oneness, and I have this wonderful term that you are my other me. You are my other me. So when you're looking at someone as a part of you, then I think it's more, inducing to ask these questions and find out, what is going on with them. Be willing to speak your truth in a gentle way. That's why I really love nonviolent communication, because that's exactly what it teaches you. You can speak your truth, you can hear others' truth in a very gentle way, without conflict. And be very aware of the energy that you are putting forth. Help people feel very safe within your energy. Help them feel like they can talk with you and express what's in their heart and on their mind. That's very important. But after asking, you have to be willing to listen. This is of the greatest importance in this. And it is always very easy to ask somebody, and then what are you doing? You're being busy in your mind trying to figure out what you're going to respond or what you're going to say next. And you really just get wrapped up in yourself again. And you really don't hear them. I just wanted to know that you were all awake, right? Did you know that the words silent and listen have the same letters? Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a coincidence, because how can you listen if you're not silent, really silent? So, when I truly listen to another person, just some wonderful things happen. Not only do I have a deeper connection with them, but I learn a lot of things. None of us know everything. And when I really listen, then I see, other positions, and I start to understand other positions. And it really does open up my whole world. And sometimes it even changes mine. Also, you need to come into a situation with an open mind. There's unlimited possibilities out there, And we tend to get stuck on the fact that we know best. This is the way we're supposed to do things. But you know what? That just means we've created a little safety box for us, haven't we? Yeah. And when we get stuck in there, then we are missing so much, so much. And the one thing I know is I can't tell you the number of times I've had solutions come to me in meditation. Silent. Be with them. Be silent with yourself. Ask the questions. And your wisdom will come through. Your wisdom always comes from your higher self. The higher self is that part of the physical body that's still connected to your soul. It's like a pathway. Okay, this is where your wisdom comes from. It doesn't come from the world. I'm not putting the world down. It's just that there's no wisdom out there. Well, maybe I am. I don't know. But ask the questions. There's always a spiritual solution. And that's how we begin to understand those in front of us. Now, we had a reading today, responsive reading about the UUA principles. These are wonderful principles. You know, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Okay? This is that awareness of each person in front of you being a divine being. And when you keep that in your awareness, you're going to see everybody differently. Everybody differently. Because you're coming from your heart. You're not coming from your ego. And that ego is going to tell you, oh, no, you're right and they're wrong, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Again, the justice and equity and the acceptance of one another. And, you know, the list goes on. I'm not going to read it again because we did it together, and that's great. But when we think about these principles, think about it in the sense of oneness. You know, you are me and I am you. Do you want to hurt yourself? You know, do you want to understand yourself? Of course you do. So it changes the whole dynamics and the energy of when you are relating to another. Now here's something you might need to, however, begrudgingly accept. You may never understand why or how someone prefers to do things a certain way, but by applying the Platinum Rule in all areas of your life, you'll be fostering an environment of inclusion and belonging. We need this so much today. And not just with our families. We need it with our communities, our spiritual communities here. I mean, look at this. This is the most amazing spiritual community I have ever been in, and I've been in a lot. You guys are wonderful, and you can feel the connection when you walk in. We need to do that within our nation, within every part of our lives. Because when we do that, we raise the energy of the world. Everything you do is very, very important. And when we look at it that way, then that might just give us that impetus to think about it before we do it, you know, and before we act. Is this for the highest and best of everyone? Everyone. So we must focus on moving from disconnection to connection. And using these principles, really understanding these principles can really help us on that path. It is a journey. You know, we're not going to go from not understanding to understanding the next moment. It's a journey. But we have to start walking that journey so that we can help ourselves and everyone else. So by applying the Platinum Rule to your overarching sensibilities, whether dealing with a loved one, a coworker that looked like cow work, or any difficult situation, you will inevitably gather hundreds of lenses through which to see, through which to understand and navigate. And that's exciting. Every time I had a new thought because of something that I had, you know, a relationship with another, I just go, wow, I have never thought of it this way. And it's wonderful. But we have to be open to that. So, we're here to help each other learn and grow. And help us on that path to really being aware of how divine and beautiful we are. That's why we're here. So now, with those thoughts in mind, I'd like to invite you to go into meditation for a few moments with me. So get comfortable in your chair. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. And as you do, breathe in and out from your heart. Just imagine that you are breathing in and out from your heart. And then focus on your heart. Your physical heart is a symbol of the heart of the all that is. Our source is love. Our source is the one heart in which we live and move and have being. So in this wonderful, relaxed state, I ask you to think about someone or something that brings you genuine feelings of love, appreciation, joy. So much so that you can't help but smile. This is called coherence. This is where you access your wisdom because you are connected to your higher self. And what I do is imagine that I'm bringing into my heart the all that is. Everything I know in my physical world, the things in my spiritual world, some I know of, some I just have faith in, but I bring them into my heart. And it feels safe, feels peaceful, and yet there's such joy with it. I want to now share with you, I think, some of the most wonderful words of Thomas Merton. Then it was if I suddenly saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depths of their hearts, where neither sin nor desire nor self-knowledge can reach, the core of their reality, the person that each one is in God's eyes. If only they could see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time. There would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. I suppose the big problem would be that we would fall down and worship each other. So let's just hold those words in our heart in the silence for just a moment. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. Bring our attention back into this room, this beautiful sanctuary. Don't you feel good? Yeah, beautiful words. Great. Thank you very much. And I would like to invite you to our class. Today I'm going to talk about the 12 layers of our DNA. There are 12, not 2. And those other layers, all right, it's our power. It's our power, our divinity, and it's in every cell in our body. And I have some ways to access that so we can express that power. I really want to also let you know there's one that's called the healing layer. We have the power to heal ourselves. So anyway, I invite you. It's going to be fun and very informative. And I'm make sure I don't take anything that doesn't belong to me. I do that often.